welcome to the Manchester is Blue show. It's great to have you on.
Yeah, no, thank you. I know I know, like you say, football's has been missing, so I'll do anything to help.
Oh yeah, you're absolutely super. So yeah, jumping straight into it, pal. You began your City career. You put on the hallowed shirt like every one of us wants to do at some point in our lives. You're extremely lucky. You signed your first professional contract at the age of 18. Were you? That was in '93. Crikey, Charlie. Did you go through the City academy all the way through? How did you fall in love with football and start playing for City? How did it all?
No, I only started when I was 10, boys. I was a bit of a late starter. I moved over from Zambia over to Wales in Wrexham, and there was a lad there. I think the story's been told before, called Robbie Savage. He was unbelievable, by the way. At 11 years old, he'd already signed for United, and he was incredible with the ball. And I just ended up kind of copying him. My sport in Zambia was golf. I love golf. I wanted to be a golfer, believe it or not.
So the national sport of Zambia is golf?
No.
Is that what you just told me? Did I hear that?
No, far from it. Absolutely no chance. The thing is, with the job my dad had and the school we went to, we were normally in school for like 7:30. We were finished by midday, so he'd take me and drop me off to the golf course, and I'd just play there in the afternoons, and then he'd pick me up after work, and that was my day.
Oh. So you moved to Wales.
That's
a bad deal.
Had a chance to question. He said it was for educational purposes, right? And I was way ahead when I got to Wales. I don't really know why he sent me there, to be honest. But anyway, I went to Wales, and yes, it was getting dark by 3:34. Couldn't play golf, and lads were putting shirts down and kicking a ball around. So I just ended up doing that, and I didn't sign for City till I was 15. I was gonna sign for Shrewsbury. They came and spotted me playing, and I was buzzing. I was any club I would have played for. And as it happens, my sister who lived in Manchester, my half sister who lived in Manchester, she picked up the Yellow Pages and looked up Terry Farrell, who's the youth development officer, and just rang him and said, "I've got a lad here, my brother, who's going to sign for Shrewsbury. Do you want to look at him?" And he invited me the following week, and I went for a 2-day trial.
That's the days before GDPR came in.
Yes, yeah. Just like that. Just picked up the phone, rang, said, "Yes, we'll have a look at him." And in those 2 days, I probably only played 20 minutes in those 2 days. And I was on fire in those 20 minutes. And a week later, they signed me. As simple as that.
I love that. So you mentioned Robbie Savage there. Did you used to play with him at a young level then?
We were best mates in school.
Is that right?
Yes, we were best mates. He'd copy my work, and I'd copy his football. He was honestly, he was a bit of an inspiration because he wasn't into girls or anything. He wasn't into smoking. He loved football and
just an athlete and
loved football. He was head and shoulders above everyone else. And so I just ended up. We just play football together on the streets whenever we could. And of course, my brother Jeff, who's 4 years younger than me, so he came on the scene, and we'd all play anywhere in the park, anywhere. And Jeff probably got his tenacity because he always played with the older ones. Yeah. He'd end up trying to kick everyone, and and that's how he came about. And so and that was it. So I signed when I was 15, but at 16 I went and did my A levels, and that's why I didn't sign my freshman contract until I was 18.
I'm with you. So basically, you followed you followed Robbie Savage in his start of football, and your brother started you into the football. So you got a little chain of command there, haven't you? One after the other, following each other.
Yes, following each other. Yeah.
I love that. By any chance, did you do art at A level?
Yes, I did.
God, that was a massive guess there, because I was looking at your Twitter page and I saw a few things on there, and I'm like, oh, he's following someone who's an artist. He's not bad. And I had a bit of another look into it the other week, and I was like, bloody hell, Jim's done that.
Yeah.
Hey, I tell you what, pal, fair play. Chris, I don't know. I'll have to send you a couple of pictures that Jim's done, but he's a bloody good artist.
I've had a look, and I saw there was 5 pictures I've seen, but every single one of it was Robbie Savage, and then the rest are all ex-United players. I was a bit, hold on a minute, mate.
Yeah, but Chris, think about it. If it was me, I'd do that as well because I'd need target practice for my air
Yeah, for the dartboard.
Yeah,
That was
it's, you
some
know
really
what,
good
it's
pictures, though.
as I signed, I studied it was chiaroscuro lighting, where it's big kind of lighting area and big dark areas that come in. That was my thing, and portraits. And when I was at City, the first portrait I did was Tony Buck. He had all these wrinkles on him. The sun was hitting. There was big shadows. It was brilliant. And I did this portrait, and I was like, "Oh, do you like this?" And he said, "Yeah, how much to buy it?" And I was like, I didn't have a clue. And so I think I sold it for pittance at the time. And it kind of ballooned from there, and everyone started wanting one. And so I've always done it alongside the football. But yeah, I love copying. I love artwork. I always have done since I was a kid, and I'll continue doing it until kind of my right arm stops working.
Oh, bless you. I've seen the one you've done of Dickoff and Redknapp. The slow motion one that you've done. What is it? Time lapse? Is it time lapse?
Time lapse. Yes.
That's phenomenal. Are you copying? Are you the type of artist that copies off a picture, but you can kind of see picture for picture onto the page? Is that what you're doing now? Is it all from the top of your head, or?
Yeah, no, it's from a picture. I used to do live drawings, but to get a professional footballer to come and sit, you got absolute no chance.
Yeah, absolutely.
They wouldn't turn up. They wouldn't. They'd be wriggling. They'd be on the phone. It'd be a nightmare. It'd be a nightmare. So it's easier to work on a photo and just work off that. Much easier.
Oh, do you know what? I'm proper digressing. I put artist at the bottom of my chat here, and I've kind of jumped ahead of the queue here to talk into that. But it's so interesting, and if anyone's listening or watching, I'll post his Twitter page on the show notes, and please have a look at it for a couple of minutes. You'll get a couple of retweets off this, Jim. I'm sure of that, pal.
Good lad. Yes, nice.
I could tell when you said A levels, I was like, hang on a minute, that's definitely art. Somewhere.
Yes.
You enjoyed that, yeah. No, I can understand that. So when you were with City for some time, weren't you? You worked through the ranks, and Chris mentioned beforehand, within City, you went through a lot of managers within your time.
Oh man, tell me about it. And do you know what? As a youngster coming through, because I was a bit of a late starter, my name wasn't banded around as one of the players to watch, so to speak. So whenever a new manager came in, firstly, they'd want to look at who the experienced pros were at City, because they were the ones that they wanted to bring into the first team. And then they'd also look about any of the youngsters who had either been to Lilleshall or international duty. And so they wanted to look at them. So you were always put at the back of the queue. And it was very, very difficult when you're trying to break through and you start doing well. Yeah. And then the manager gets sacked. And a lot of the time when the manager gets sacked, a lot of the backroom staff go. So a lot of the core coaches that have been looking after you, they go as well. So you get a whole new batch of coaches and manager, and it's the circle goes again. It was a bit of a nightmare on that front, but I must have had a little something. I stayed the test of time, as they say, and managed to break through in the end.
That's so good. So your debut for City was, I've got this in front of me, I don't remember this off my brain, I'm not that clever. Yeah. The 3rd of Jan 98, and it was a 2-0 win over Bradford in the FA Cup, and you were 22 at that point. Who was your manager at that point then? Do you remember?
At that point was Frank Clark.
Frank Clark, bloody hellfire. Right, yeah.
Another one that goes, you forget.
Crikey, I forgot about him. Yeah, no, generally.
There's been loads. And yes, he gave me my debut. But before that, I'd been to see him because I knew I was playing well and I just wasn't getting a chance at all. And I asked to leave, and next thing they give me an extra couple £100 on my contract, and then he asked me to come and sign another. I was thinking, I'm nowhere near. He's not giving me a chance. And then this came up just through injuries. I got called in, and he named me as on the bench, and I was like, wow, okay. But even then, I thought he's not going to bring me on. For some reason, he's just not using me even in training. And when we used to do 11 against 11 first team, I never got used. And so I was kind of really relaxed on the bench, just thinking it's not going to happen. And Crooksy came off, and I was like, he called me up. I'll tell you the feeling then of actually realization of running onto the pitch. Man, that's incredible. That is incredible. And do you know what? No one knew me, so it was great. It was kind of just, I'm just going on, and I'm just going to go and do my thing. So It was great, and I love my debut. I love my debut for Manchester City, and also love my debut for Northern Ireland because again, no one knew me then, and it was great. I can't explain the feelings of running onto the pitch for Main Road in front of all those fans.
Oh, it must be phenomenal. Were you thinking then at City, because you were 22 at that point and been at City for so long? Were you thinking your time was running out? You need to leave. You need to. Was that the top? Hard question.
Yeah, I mean,
how long would you have waited?
Yeah, I mean, I was asking at that point to leave or to go on loan or to get out. My contract was coming up, and you know, a lot of younger players were coming, were knocking on the door, so to speak, and. But you know what? I've been asked this before. I love the club. I'd still be trying to play now if I could. You know. So to say why don't you leave? It might be different if you're at a lower league club, but this was Manchester City, and I loved it. And you know what? If you look back, had I started at Shrewsbury, would I have broken into the team earlier? Would have then moved on? Who knows? It's just how it was, and yes, it's how it was. It gave me a chance to keep. It gave me a chance to keep practicing the basics, because the basics, you need the basics in football. And because I started late on, I was always practicing. I always felt I was trying to play catch up to a lot of the first teamers, because they were some good players at Manchester City, some very, very good players. And so it gave me a chance to catch up and eventually broke into the team. So
from your side, I'm looking at the 1990, because obviously you saw, like you say, I'm just looking at the players you played with in the 98-99 season that next year, and there was some absolute belting names there, wasn't there? Did you see the start? So you would have saw the start of Sean Wright, wouldn't you?
Yeah, Sean Wright Phillips.
Jamie Pollock Bishop, who we spoke to a couple of weeks ago.
What a player he was as well, Bish. The most two-footed player, left foot, right foot. I love Bish. I think he's an incredible player. I would have loved to have played with him when he's really in his prime. But the likes of Sean Wright Phillips, even Joey Barton, you saw them coming through the ranks. So I always remember Joey Barton coming in to the first team. We had a little five-a-side going, and Joey Barton came in. I'm not kidding you. He was going through every first team, smashing them.
Making a name for himself.
I was with Dickie, and Dickie was like, who on earth is he? And Dickie was going, he's on my hit list. 16-year-old, 17. He's like, he's on my hit list. But you know what? And he was coming in. But one thing you do, especially at that era, when you could kick someone, you thought he could look after himself. He was only young, but you thought, he could look after himself. It wasn't good coming in and smashing the first team, but he was just trying to make himself known, and he did that. And definitely did that. But I saw them all through. Sean Wright Phillips as well. I wasn't sure about Sean, whether he'd break through, but he was a revelation at Manchester City. And so yes, I've seen many players come through. God,
I'm just looking at the rivals that season that you had your debut. I'm not going to say all-star players, but two players I love to watch. Andy Morrison and Danny Tiatto came in. But one of my heroes left that season as well, Kinkladze. Did you get a chance to play with him or didn't train?
Yes. Kinky's... Wow, Kinky for me didn't realise his full potential in my eyes. He was incredible. His turn of pace over 2-3 yards, his ability to change direction so quickly, and the one trick, the drop of the shoulder, which he used to send all the fans. Everyone went with the drop of the shoulder.
Yeah.
And we used to get taught this in the younger days, the drop of the shoulder. He perfected that. I've never seen anyone do it as good as he did. And the only problem with Kinky is he became the fans loved him. The fans absolutely loved him. And he'd only have to beat one player in a game, and he was man of the match. That's it. He didn't do anything else. And he became lazy. He became lazier and lazier. In the end, he put a bit of weight on, and we were playing with 10 men a lot of the time. And it took Joe Royle to come in and go, we need 11 players on the pitch, not 10, and dropped him. And that was a massive move. And he was the first manager to do it because all the other managers loved him.
Oh, it's amazing. Heartbreaking as a fan, sitting in the stands. He used to be, you know, I've still got rolled up posters of him when I was a kid. When I had him on my road, I've kept them in my loft. I'm not touching them ever again. He's a massive hero. When we sold him, it was horrible. But I can understand where you're coming from, because if you need to win, you need everyone pulling in the same. I mean, Pep wouldn't have lasted him long, would he?
No. But then he may have upped his game. You know.
Yeah.
We'd been training, guys. We'd been training, and we'd finished training. Then we'd have sprints or runs to do. He'd just literally hold his hand and go, "No, I finish. I go." And he just do one. And all the players there, all the first teamers are going sprinting, and he's just walked off. He's had enough, and it's like you can't do that. And he was allowed to do it, and it was that kind of attitude. He'd be lazy. But I love watching him training. I loved that. Tried to copy things he did. His first touch was phenomenal. But when he was on song for Manchester City, I tell you what, he made me look good, because he dragged 2, 3, 4 players, and he'd make me look good. He was a fantastic player, one of the best I've ever seen live. But he should be up. You should be talking about Kincladze with the likes of Ronaldo and Messi, in my humble opinion. He was that good.
Bonkers, that, really, to think about it, and to think that you played with him as well. And we were talking to I can't remember if it was John Macken or Keith Curl the other day. I can't remember which player it was. Yeah. And he said that the manager, when Kincladze first joined the team, the manager turned to everyone saying, "Don't kick him. Don't kick him, whatever you do." He's like,
it would have been Keith Curl. It would have been Keith Curl, yeah. Because I played with him, yes.
Don't touch him, whatever you do.
It was embarrassing on the side when you're taking the ball around. Every little pass that Kinky made, it was Kinky. This is the managers, right? And you're like, I've just done exactly the same passes. No, nothing. And it was every time Kinky. And it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. They loved him that much.
For him and everything.
Yeah, he did everything. But he ran the roost, and he just got too lazy. But we'll move him to one side, mate, because I'm interested in talking about you and your with us, because your first league appearance was a 3-0 win against Portsmouth. So you had 2 cracking starts there, didn't you? Let's face it, and went on to make a number of appearances for us. And you were voted Young Player of the Year. That must have been buzzing for you. That must have been. I think it was the oldest Young Player of the Year ever, I think. Yeah, listen, I was buzzing because, you know, the list of names that are there, Young Player of the Year, I was buzzing. And I had a great start of the season, and it was fantastic. And that's one of my biggest kind of accolades, to be honest. Young Player of the Year at Manchester City Football Club. It doesn't get much better than that. And but injuries in football, and do you know what? Injuries are such a big club like Manchester City. Unless you are a Kincladze who can walk back into the team, they can't. They don't wait for you. Someone else will replace you, and that's what happened, unfortunately. And I had this hamstring injury, which I still feel today, and it was a pull that I had right high up in the hamstring area, and sitting driving the car, I used to just give me pain, and I was never comfortable. And the physio at the time, Roy Bailey, said that the injuries, the scarring that I used to get, he said, if you imagine an elastic band, and you tear the elastic band, and you repair it with a piece of string instead of elastic, so every time you pull the elastic band, it would never get its true stretch because of that little piece of string. And that eventually was kind of what my hamstring was like. I couldn't quite get to where I was at, and it was really, really frustrating. It probably took 2 or 3 years before I could say I'm kind of fit, but not as I was. And it was really, really frustrating. And as it happens, I lost my place in the team and had to go out and play on loan and try and get some first-team experience.
Yeah, and then you end up being a hero at the. I suppose Wrexham would be your hometown club, wouldn't it? Really, from living there,
yes.
It's going through. Where's the Northern Ireland connection? Is that mum or dad?
Dad. You know,
right.
What? Lads would laughing at me going, "Is your dog Irish? Is it, you know? How are you Irish this day?"
Grandma moved and all that.
Yeah, that's right. My dad was from Belfast. It's as simple as that. And so, in fact, I had the option because of where I came from and the passport that I held, living in Wales. I could have played for all of them. And then when I got called up for Northern Ireland, Bobby Gould had rang me for Wales, and he'd included me in the Welsh squad as well. So I was in the 2 squads. I'm not sure if that's ever happened before, but I was in 2 squads simultaneously. I had Robbie Savage ringing saying, "Come to Wales, come play with us. We'll have a great time." But my brother had already made his debut for Northern Ireland.
Oh,
I thought I've got to go with them. That's where the dad's from. When I have to go with that, and that's how I ended up in Northern Ireland.
Was there a temptation for Wales there?
Well,
was it ever on your mind?
I'd lived there. I'd lived there, but the pull just from my dad. I had to go down that route, and the fact, I could have gone to Wales, and me and my brother could have played against each other on different nationalities, which would have been weird. But no, I had to go there. And I had a couple of players. Stevie Lomas was there playing. Michael Hughes at the time was playing for Northern Ireland. So just went along with that.
So as you're growing up through the city ranks, then who were obviously your brother was there. Who was your group of mates as you were growing up? And did you see anybody did he stick with anyone from an early age going through the ranks? And are you still friends with them now? Who were your main group of pals?
Well, I started at 15, so there wasn't many of the younger ones through there. So I'm from kind of 16 through to when I made my debut. There's a lot that went to other teams or never made it. It's just that happens in football. But the core of the lads that was there, probably Michael Brown,
yes,
brother. In fact, when Joe Royal came in, me and my brother and Brownie used to call us the rats, 3 rats, because we'd go in there and chase anything down and try and tackle anything we could. So we always used to call us the rats, the ratters. Go and rat it out for us. They'd be like, so they were the main ones. But the ones I've probably kept in and of course stick off as well. We'd have some great drinking sessions with Dickie. Weaves as well. Weaves was part of that clan. And Kev Horlock, who has remained mates with me to this day, the best character to have in the dressing room. He was just a good laugh. When things were down, he could pick it up. He was so quick with his jokes that he'd play. And he was amazing in the dressing room, along with Les Chapman, who was the reserve team coach.
Chappy, of course. Yeah. What an unbelievable character.
Unbelievable. And so
I bet you've seen some things. I'd love to go for a pint with him.
Oh, Chappy's got so many stories as well. He'd have so. Do you know once he turned up? There was a new manager turned up, and Chappy turned up dressed as a tramp. He walked onto the pitch. He was dragging this old bag. He looked like a tramp. His hair was all over the place. And of course, some of the coaches hadn't met him yet. And he walked onto the side of the pitch when you could come and watch. And he kind of stood watching, and they were like, "You okay?" And he was like, "Yes, yes." And the next thing, he ran onto the pitch trying to tackle some of the lads, and they had to go and grab him. They didn't know it was all the lads were in pieces. But that was Chappy. He was just one of the boys. Anything to make the lads laugh, and he was brilliant. But I'll tell you what, going from team to team and going out on loan to different teams and experiencing different dressing rooms, you always need someone like a Chappy or Kev Horlock in the dressing room. It's massive to the team, massive.
Yeah, I love that, and we seem to have done. Chappy's done. Who's the lad that's taken over Chappy's job, or he's in the back room?
Oh God!
The young lad. He brought him in, Chappy.
Yeah, I can't remember his name now. He seems to be a similar mentality, doesn't he?
Yes, almost exactly. Well, he would have seen what Chappy was up to, and yes, he's definitely bonkers as well.
We've had a question through, Jim, from Dan Halifax, one of the other admins, and this is a very good question. This, he said, if you could pick 5 players to go on the lash with, out of the City team you used to play with or in and around, who would they be? You could even choose Chappy if you wanted, because I don't.
Oh man, Chappy's great. I love Chappy, man. Well, you see, there's all kinds of drink. There's different types of drink. There's some drinkers that go early doors, have the lot early doors, and they'll sneak away early as well.
Oh, we've all got those mates, haven't we?
Oh yeah, we've got that. And then you got the likes of my brother and Brownie, who would Oh, and Kevin Kennedy, Mark Kennedy, he was another
Kennedy,
one.
yeah.
Oh man, and they'd stay as long as they could. They don't want to go to bed at all. And then you got others that are single that were to pick. He's put me on the spot there. That's a quite a hard question. But I'd have to probably go with the core, the ones that I used to hang out with, and the Brownies, the Kev Horlocks, the Dickies. Bish could put it away. Wow.
He still does.
He still, yeah.
Yeah, he's on the iPad I was talking to the other night.
He is incredible. And you know what? The thing with those experienced players, they could have a drink, turn up the next morning and look absolutely fine. And that would be like, oh, I was drinking with you, but look at you now. And it was. And funny enough, back then, I remember, especially as a youngster, trying to come through, the experienced players. Beasley was one of them, very experienced ones. I remember saying, if you don't drink, you're never going to make it in the game. That was their knowledge passed on. If you don't drink, you're never going to make it in the game. And drinking was rife. That was part and parcel of football, a team camaraderie.
Culture, wasn't it? And we'll lose, we'll go out and wet our road. We win, we go out and celebrate. If we lose, we'll go out and have a pint and commiserate ourselves.
That's right.
There was always
Chappy and Asa Hartford used to tell the story of when he used to play, which is going back some years still. Was that they used to have a bottle passed around called Team Spirit. So before they went out, they go bottle of Team Spirit, and they'll get this Team Spirit. They'll have a swig of this Team Spirit. That'd be brandy, straight brandy or something, and they'd all go pass it along, and they'd go around and everyone have a bit of Team Spirit before they went out. And it was like, you can't do that now. There's a little swig of brandy before going out. But that was what they did for camaraderie. And then afterwards they go out and have a drink together, and that's football. It's changed as we've gone along, but yes, there's a lot of stories that can't be told on some of these.
Yeah, no, I can rightly imagine. You could tell me in private over WhatsApp. Oh, I absolutely love it. The way you talk about football, and you must miss the camaraderie. When you retired, that must have been terrible for you as a player to play the competitive games, as many as you played, and to have been at City and Wrexham, and you went on loan to a couple of big clubs as well, didn't you? Obviously,
Norwich. I was going to sign for Norwich, and it just didn't work out contract-wise. But yeah, Wrexham in particular was very difficult because near the end of my career at Wrexham, they were struggling to pay players.
Right.
Almost went to administration, so you'd be going 2, 3, 4 months. You not got paid, and that was the bad side of football, which was like I didn't, I love playing football, but you shouldn't have to be worrying about where's the money coming in, So that was tough. And then I had a double microfracture done on my knee, which was quite a big op.
Oh yeah.
I was coming to the end of my contract, and I really needed another 6 months or so to try and get back into rehab, and they just couldn't afford to take me on. And I remember just leaving Wrexham thinking, I can't even go out on trial anywhere because I'm injured. And it literally came to an end just like that. I was like, I remember and looking back now, probably, the times it sat at home, just I probably would have been depressed. Actually, I wasn't doing anything, just kind of sat thinking, football's, and I was still young as football goes, and just thinking, is this it? And I used to think about players used to saying, and try and get something else because it'll come quite quickly, and it did, and yeah, it was a nice way out of football. I never actually officially retired. It kind of just sort of slowly slipped out.
Still waiting for the phone to ring.
Yeah, and do you know what? Knee's fine. I'm out playing with my son. I'm kicking the ball around all the time. I'm playing into the vets teams, so I'm good. I'm good now. But I just couldn't get back to fitness anywhere near quick enough to try and get back into a club.
Stop the video podcast. Sorry for the interruption, Blues, but I wanted to thank you very much for listening to the show. And also, a little favour to ask. We'd really appreciate it if you share this video podcast with friends, family, and generally any Blues all over the globe that you think might like to listen to us. Your support and positive reviews go a huge way in increasing our visibility on the video podcast all over the globe. We've got fans Canada, Australia, Greece, Sweden, even Wales. Can you believe it? But yeah, if you head over to Apple Podcasts, subscribe to the show, and even leave a review of the show, it really, really helps. Thank you so much. Have a great day. What did you do after football then? Because I noticed one thing, that it wasn't hard to find a bit of research on you going into theatrics and the theatre.
Yeah.
That was interesting. How did you end up in that?
Well, you see, this is interesting. There was a girl when I was at Wrexham.
There's always a girl involved.
I know, yeah. Plenty of stories. Let's not go into that. There was a girl that had written a song about why, I have no idea. But she'd written this song, and she wanted all the lads to come in and sing in the chorus line. So we went in, and I was listening at the time to a lot of Frank Sinatra stuff. I found I could sing it without it straining my voice. I couldn't sing Michael Jackson. I couldn't do anything like that. But previous to this, when I was in Wales, you bearing in mind, when I went to Wales, I was the only black guy in the village, kind of thing. I'd do anything to fit in. So I ended up. I was in the choir. I played the flute in the band.
Well, with Wales, it's either brass band or singing in the choir. I suppose.
Got to sing if you're in Wales.
Yeah.
Yes. So I sang. So how I didn't get stick for it, I don't know. But I was in the choir, played the band, but I was also playing football. So the singing, I learned how to read music. I learned harmonies. So the singing was always there. It's not like it just popped up. So advance forward now to us in the chorus line and singing this chorus for this girl who'd written a song. He could tell I was interested, and he pulled me to one side and said, "Do you want to do a little guest spot with this girl who was singing in the theatre?" So I was like, "Yeah, okay." So I went and did this guest spot, and whilst I was there was a bass player there who said, "You're quite good. Take this card, get hold of this person." So I did, and this guy was in London, and he was a West End singer. And as things progressed and as my injuries were there, he'd set up a Rat Pack and wanted a Sammy Davis Jr. And he was a West End singer. There was another West End singer, and me with no experience whatsoever. And I kind of went in sink or swim type of mentality. Yeah, and next thing I was in. I was learning off the high end professionals, and they were guiding me through. And but one thing I realised though is when you go out on stage and perform, it's almost very, very similar to playing football. Because when you go into a football pitch, you almost have to become someone else. I'd go and smash someone. I'd go and smash someone on a football pitch if I could, because you have to try and win. But when you go and I'm a nice guy off the field, you know, and it's exactly the same. When you go onto a stage or go and perform, you have to become someone else. But you're still performing. The crowds are nothing like a main road, but you're still performing. And I found it was a bit of a buzz, and it was a bit of it was something that I'd missed from my football days. So I was still coming in amongst the guys, amongst the kind of team camaraderie and performing, and it was, I slipped into it just like that.
It's funny that, because you're not going to get a red card from Nat King Cole, are you? But it's funny that you mentioned that. When you played football, did you have like, is alter ego the right phrase, where you kind of switch on to a different personality when you play? Yeah. Is that similar to what you did with the performing then?
Yeah, and in football, everyone does it differently. The Andy Morrisons of the world would scream, shout, almost punch walls to try and G themselves up to get onto the pitch, trying to do anything. I was a bit more calmer than that, and I'd from my teachings early on was always to try and get a first touch in early, and well, from the coaches as well, go and smash someone early. That was always the thing. Go get him early. But this was, everyone had their own way of G'ing themselves up, and yes, you had to switch on. I remember being in the tunnel about to go out, and we were playing Wimbledon. Vinnie Jones was there. Nice. Vinnie Jones was just pecking Hugh Clancy's head. That's all he was doing. He knew he was the kingpin, and he was just trying to wind him up. And next thing, everyone's running out. And next thing, Gio almost blows with Vinny, so we had to come in and try and split that up. and running out. And so Vinny's thinking, I've got him. I've got under his skin already. And he tried to smash Gio almost in the first 20 seconds. And as it happens, Gio rose to it and just kept getting the ball going. I'm going to run at him. I'm going to have him. And so it was a different turn of events for Vinny. He got turned over, Vinny. That was his way. That was just gonna get into you. I'm just gonna get into you. And every player had their way about them. Jamie Pollock would often wind other players up a bit like a basketballer. But give him the ball, he'll give it us back. Leave him have it, pass it. He was infectious, and so this was all part and parcel of football. So going on to the singing, it was the same kind of thing. Just get into the mentality and try and perform. But one thing I did realise from those professionals in singing is how they covered their tracks when they made mistakes. You wouldn't know. It's a skill and an art. In football, there's 10 players to blame. If you make a mistake, it's like, you didn't pass the ball right to me. You didn't do this. You didn't make the right run. There's always someone to blame. Lads in the football thing, dressing rooms are always arguing about whose mistake it was. That's all it was all about. And so different to the music side, because you're on your own a lot of the times. If you make a mistake, it's up to you to how you get out of it. And so there was a lot of pressure on that. And I think I lent to my football days and how to deal with that on stage and theatre.
It must be great, very personality building, character building. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yes.
To step into something like that, because I can imagine you do a wrong note or a wrong tune, you got to backtrack and get out of it as best you can. And are you still doing it these days? Then are you still getting into the old showcasing? Or?
Yeah, although because of COVID, all the theatre work has just disappeared totally. And weddings that were planned, they're all gone. So the entertainment business right now is, I'm not sure how that's going to get back. I'm not sure anything's going to happen this year until probably a vaccine, because ultimately most of the people who used to come to watch us would be people who reminisce about the old times. So it'd be generally the elderly. There's a lot of younger ones that were coming in because of the likes of Michael Bublé and bringing it a bit more modern, but majority would be the elderly ones, and they're not going to come out to the theatres. So that's dried up as we speak, but we'll see what the future holds.
Who knows what's around the corner? It's bonkers at the minute, isn't it?
It's bonkers. Yes, it is bonkers. But we've got to make sure everyone's safe before things like that open up, first and foremost. So
I'm glad you mentioned the word safe there. If you were playing these days, what's your thoughts on the restart on the 17th? Because it's only a matter of weeks away, isn't it?
Oh man. I thought there's so many things you can. Well, I've read about so many things about what could or what might have happened. If I was playing today, and kids involved, would I be going back? I'm not sure. The fact that they've opened up the schools to certain age groups means it's, I don't know. They're trying to go to the next phase, and they're trying to stop paying furlough to everyone. It's different for football. It's a contact sport. You can't distance. You can't social distance.
Yeah.
And so I think I'd go on safety. I don't think it should have come back myself. I think it should either wipe the season, give Liverpool the title, do whatever is needed relegation wise, and go on to this when it is safe. You know, I know Spain and have opened up their football, but their death toll is down massively now, and hopefully they're doing it the right way. But we shall see. Doesn't matter what I say; things are going ahead as we speak. But hopefully, safety is key.
It's funny because I was listening to a couple of podcasts. I think the BBC podcast, like the 606 phone in, and they do another one as well, like a Monday night club and things like that. And I was listening to that, and they had a player on from Derby County, and he was doing his basically he's going into training, and he's like, I wake up at 7:30. I take my temperature. How do I feel? I email that to the physio. They say whether it can come in or come out again, etc. And he did his whole sort of afternoon and morning and day of how it is, and it seems so secure and safe. If every club's doing the same thing, then it can only be a positive that it's coming through. And we saw the other day that it's only that one Tottenham player's come back as COVID positive. I think.
Yes.
Out of like 1,100, 1,200 people or something. So
yeah,
I think they're doing things in the right way, aren't they? And they can't not afford not to, can they? Because if one player gets it and is seriously ill, God, they'll be hell to pay.
yes. No, I think on that front, they'll be getting tested or looked after a hell of a lot more than me and you, I think.
Yeah, so I think every days they're looking at testing, aren't they?
Yeah, so on that front, I think if anything crops up, they can pick on it quickly and isolate them and test everyone else and go forward from there. So hopefully, yes, fingers crossed, it'll remain that way. And I've missed football, mind. I really have missed football. But yes, I know. What do you do? Got nothing to tweet. I've got no football.
Keep your drawing up, pal. That's what we need.
Yeah, I've got one. There's one that's going to be up. There's going to be one that's up very, very soon, actually. But yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be weird watching football, though. Even, one, you can't go to the game, and secondly, watching it on the box without all the audio, without the crowd shouting, and you score a goal and you won't be able to hear that. Hey.
I saw the I don't know what I was looking on Twitter quite a bit, and I saw that on Sky and other websites, other TV channels, that there's an option to be able to listen to fan noise during the game if you want it, or you could turn it off if you want it. And it's one of them.
Really?
I don't know if I like that or not. And it's like, I don't know where I feel a bit fake that to me, but I don't know.
Yeah, it does feel a bit fake. Well, we'll see. We'll see when it's up and running and see what they do. And but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, as long as it. And a second wave doesn't come along, then
that's the point. Yeah. I know, Chris, you had a couple of questions.
I was just thinking, is it just me that thinks it's all wrong that football's coming back in general? I mean, the fact I work for the NHS anyway, I'm just wait any minute now the second wave's coming. But I just think, Jim, you were with the team in '99, obviously when we were at Wembley. Could you imagine Dickov scoring that goal and being no one there, no crowd? The 93-20 minute with Aguero, that goal goes in. And just silence, that's what football's about for me. It's not about all the money and the trophies. It's about winning. And I think for the smaller clubs as well. I mean, City now are obviously in a financial position. We don't need to worry about gate receipts as such.
Yeah.
But if we go back 20 years, if it was COVID then, those gate receipts could be the difference. Your days at Wrexham. It's the difference between a player getting paid and not getting paid.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Chris. Even when I made my debut, it was mainly the fans, the roar, the clapping, all that's the buzz. If I was making my debut with no one around, it's just like a training session. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not the same buzz, and the noise on the pitch when you're trying to tell someone to hold or turn, you can't hear. You can't hear stuff. That's part of the experience because you can't teach that when you're coming through the ranks. You have to experience it. Some can and some can't. And for me, like you say, the Dickov goal and the Aguero goal without the fans, I can't. Yeah. It hasn't got the same value for me. And I'm with you. The fact they've been talking about it and now it's going to fruition. They're going to be playing very shortly. I don't think they should have. I should wait until either there's a vaccine or we're down to no one getting it again, But who am I to them? The government made the decision. It's made the decision, and yes, but it will carry on. For me, I don't think it should, but it will be.
It's all finance driven, isn't it? Let's face it, lads.
All money.
Get paid a lot more money than us to be able to decide these things, and I'm glad it's not me making the decision.
And me. Yes, totally.
Can I ask, Jim, what was it like? Obviously, I know you said you picked Northern Ireland internationally because of the pull from your dad's side, and obviously Jeff was already there. What was it like playing alongside your brother, and when you sort of moved out on loan and then made permanent moves elsewhere? What was the relationship with Jeff like after that?
Well, somebody asked me this before, actually. What's it like to play with a brother? And to be honest, it's almost like asking someone without a brother or sister growing up, what's it like growing up without a brother or sister? They don't know any different. It's just how they grow up. And with Jeff, I've gone from playing in the garden with him to next thing we're out training together, next thing playing together. It just kind of happened quite easily. The next thing is naturally, yeah. So I don't know any different. It's just a buzz even now when I speak to him. talking about some of the stuff that happened, and do you know what? I suppose you take it for granted at times, but you don't realise how lucky you were to break in, because so many kids trying to break into it, and to have done it is incredible, and to do it with your brother is incredible. And yes, we've been Northern Ireland together, we've drank together, we've shared stories together, and yes, I moved away from City, but we always still spoke. I always wanted to find out what was happening at City, so we'd always speak. And then when he moved on to Sunderland, we'd still speak. It was, because it's all football related, and just good times to share it with someone that you've grown up. I think it would have been harder if we both played football and one of us didn't make it. Then you know, that might be a different type of thing. But
yeah,
it was great. I enjoyed every moment of it.
You've made some fantastic memories there with your brother, which no one can take away from you as well. You've celebrated together, you've lost together, except you've built a relationship together there, which a lot of people would envy with brothers or sisters. So yeah, it must be a fantastic thing to be able to do with it.
Oh, fantastic! I just wish I was kind of here as a better player, as a Gio Kinkladze type figure. But you know, I tried hard. I didn't quite get to the stage of being one of the City's best. But like I say, I was always playing catch up. But to do it at Main Road, for me, that was a special place. Main Road, it really was. You know, parking your car where someone might nick it. It's the buzz of leaving the ground, going, "Oh, my car's all right."
Are you telling me you didn't pay those kids a fiver to keep it all right for you? Like everyone else did.
Yeah, you had to, didn't you? Because you're like, he's going to come and get my car. And
we'd
always turn up, and we'd always have to turn up in a shirt and tie and smart. So we'd get out your car, and you'd be like, oh, kid knows me. So I'm dressed up like this. He knows I'm probably part of the City. So I had to pay him a fiver. You know, it was part and parcel of, hey, that's Main Road for you. You know.
Oh, brilliant!
I loved it.
Yeah, we used to park at a church around the corner called St. Crispin's. They've knocked it down now, and they had marshals on there, like the front and back exit and all that sort of stuff. But still, you still see kids walking around the cars. I'm thinking, what was the point in paying you guys? Well, there's kids still walking around the car park.
They made fortunes, didn't they, on match day? Those kids.
Yeah, phenomenal.
They made a fortune.
Yeah,
it was all good times.
Yeah, I drove past Main Road the other day. They've still got the centre circle there, but it's bizarre driving through the Ginnells near the pub. I can't remember what the pub's called, and and just to see no stadium there, no main stand there, and it's bonkers really. When you have you been there since it's not? No.
I went probably about 3 or 4 days ago. I'd been to my sisters. We were talking, and somebody had said Alexander Park had been regenerated. Now, Alexander Park, which is really across the stone's throw away from Main Road. When I did my A-levels at Loreto, I used to go into Alexander Park and practice. That's where I did a lot of practice on my own. And there was tennis courts up there. And I remember the part of the tennis courts, the fencing that used to go around the tennis courts, part of the fencing ring pulled up. So it was a little bit loose. But that meant I could practice my left foot shooting against this fence for about 2 yards because it wouldn't spring back at you. So I used to practice against there, and there was a building that I used to go against, and I'd knock it against the building to practice chesting. So I went to Alexander Park to have a look because somebody had said it's all changed. And I went, and yes, the tennis courts had moved and the building wasn't there. And I was like, I had so much time on this park kicking a ball. And of course, then I went to Main Road and had a look, and that was quite sad actually to drive past and see. I was like, man, because I had some great times there as well. But things move on, and the Etihad now is, and a lot of football teams, Premiership included, always go to the next level. Always, and there's more money involved, and that's football. I suppose it's a bit like our phones, mobile phones. They all change. We're doing a Skype call now.
Do you know
everything changes, and you have to go with it.
It's true, and every home game I go to, my dad and my uncle, they always, at some point during the journey on the way there, saying, I wish we stayed at Main Road. We could have built this stadium in that area there. I was like, Dad, they can't have built that stadium at Main Road.
No,
can you think about that?
They can't, and that's the sad thing. It's sad, but the good thing, things move on. You have to ride with it, and there's new memories being built now at the Etihad, the number of trophies that are coming along, and that will be the next fortress for however many years until the next big thing comes along. But
progress.
Yes, progress. Yeah. So you have to go with it. And but it was sad going past there, but because I have a lot of memories there, a lot of memories of Moss Side in general. But yeah, things move on. Good times.
Absolutely brilliant. He's smiling about it. I can tell by your voice. That's always a good sign. Do you have any more questions, Chris?
There's two. You know, when your time at in Wrexham with Robbie, and you said,
yes,
you know, he used to copy your work and you'd copy his football, and you seem to have quite a good friendship. Did you ever think about copying his hairstyle at all? I could just see you coming out with the lovely long lock.
Lovely long. Well, do you know what, mate? You know what? When I was in school, my dad didn't really know what to do with my hair. I had this kind of big bouffant curls. My dad used to try and give me a parting, right, and pull it across. It was horrendous.
But it hurt like hell, that did. Oh.
Yeah, and he tried to comb it straight. I had curly hair. He couldn't straighten it. So eventually when I started to mess with my own hair and when I did have hair and kind of get it to a decent kind of look, I'd go in and what did Sav used to do? Mess my hair up every time. And I swear, and I nearly came to blows at him because my hair wasn't like his. You know, he had this blonde hair which you could just flick it and it would just come back to normal. And I had this hair, you'd mess it and it would go all over the place. I'd be fuming. I'd be trying to catch him everywhere. So he always used to wind me up. But that's school for you. And he felt confident enough to do it, and he was a very good mate of mine in school.
Brilliant, love that, love that.
Oh, belted. And just lastly, Jim, I mean, I started pretty much watching City by the time you'd made your debut. I remember first match I saw you in was against West Ham when I think he scored that amazing goal. And I mean, you were playing against Bishop at that time because he still hadn't joined yet. But
yes.
One of my first, I think it was my first midweek fixture I went to with my dad was at Main Road, and it was the second leg against Notts County. And we drew 1-1 away, and then the team just ran riot, and you got that goal from the corner. I was wondering if you can talk us through that a bit. Was that like a pre-planned? Because Jamie put the ball down and then just looked up, and it was next minute it's in the back of the net.
Yeah, no, it wasn't pre-planned, but we were on fire and things were coming off. And as it happened, I mishit that shot. It wasn't a clean strike at all, but
you're not supposed to tell him that. You meant that. Don't ruin your dream.
I think my downfall at times is always trying to get the perfect shot to the perfect strike, and it doesn't always work like that. If it goes in, it goes in. If it comes off your knee, shin, whatever, it goes in. Whereas I always think it'd be a nice, perfect one. So yeah, I celebrated it, and that was amazing. We had a great night that night, by the way, going out with the lads. That was amazing. Yeah, it was great to score. It was great. You know, scoring's the hardest thing on earth. You know, you'd be in training and you're trying things. All of a sudden, you turn up with 30,000, 40,000 people there. The goal just disappears, and you end up hitting row Z every time. That's why strikers get paid a lot of money, and that's why when I watch the likes of Aguero right now, who's arguably one of the best strikers in the world right now for me in his goals ratio, the calmness in front of the goal is unbelievable. It really is, and I try and because I've seen players do it in training and try and pass it on to my son and anyone I teach is to try and be relaxed in front of goal. It's easier said than done, but Aguero's phenomenal at the moment. And it's
bizarre, isn't he? He's just an enigma. And the worst thing about Aguero is he's getting older. He's 32 the other day, and it's like, oh mate, older, stop it, go on.
I know. I mean,
same age as me.
He's going to have to. He's going to have to go at some point. That's going to be a sad day as well, by the way, when he goes. But yeah, the football is you're always after the next one, and you're always looking at who's going to come in next. And sadly, with football, everyone's replaceable. There's always someone else that'll come in. There's always someone else that'll do well. So, but Aguero right now is
so true. It's so true, and it's so ruthless of an industry, isn't it? We'll be saying the same thing about Jesus in 5 years' time. He's going to be older and leaving. It's terrible. Don't leave us.
Do you know when I left City? Right, I left City in the summer. I had to come back when all the lads were coming into pre-season. I had to grab some boots and some stuff that I had put together. So I'd only been away from the club for 6-7 weeks, and I remember being in Brownie's car. So me and Michael Brown, so we travelled in together. I grabbed my stuff, and as I was leaving at the training ground, some kids had come over to sign a ball for Michael Brown. I'd literally been forgotten. I've been gone 7 weeks. And it was like,
Oh,
yeah, you're... And I was like, wow, just, you're not here anymore. So, yeah, see you later. It was just, I remember leaving going, man, that was brutal.
that, isn't it? That's horrible.
Brutal. But that's, you know, but I still get the odd fan that comes in now, and they're proper old school. If they remember me now, that's like your proper main road days. But that's football for you. That is football for you. It moves on, and the next person comes in, and they have to do well.
Can I honestly say, Jim, that, I mean, at that time I was like 10, 11 years old. I was gutted when you left. Because, I mean, I was in school, I had all the United fans, and, you know, I used to get all the stick and everything. I thought, you know what, United may have the Nevilles, you've got the Baggios, the De Boers. So I said, but we've got the Whitleys. Then you got these two, you know. And it was funny because my dad used to describe you as a pair of rats as well, because the way you used to just chase anything. Yeah, and it was like, that's what we wanted, that's what we needed. And I thought, you know what, that's perfect at City. That's the sort of club we are.
Well, do you know what? Joe Royle was great at that. Joe Royle, he made me feel like I was one of the best players on the pitch, Joe Royle. And just the way closing the ball down, sometimes he'd give me a thing, go and man mark him. I don't care what you do, else you do. And I might have had much of the touch of the ball, but he'd come over, put his arm around me and go, "You're brilliant today." And I was just like, wow, he was incredible at doing that. And me, Jeff and Brownie used to come on, Raptors, you could win the game for us. And we're like, well, none of us are kind of want to thread a ball through or put it in the top bins. But the fact that he'd go, you three in midfield can win it for us. And it was a fantastic feeling. And just, you know, putting the work in. And I knew the fans would appreciate it. You know, when you ran your heart out, the fans appreciated it. And that was one of the main things, you know, and I enjoyed it so much. And it's probably why I made it through. Colin Bell, from an early age when I was 15, he was my coach at the time. And I didn't.
No, he wasn't.
I can't believe how good. You know,
was he really, coach?
Colin Bell's my first coach.
No.
And I didn't know. I was like, Colin. It's only afterwards when I went to my half sister, like, Colin Bell. I was like, you know Colin? And I was like, well, no, I didn't know the full history. So Colin Bell and you know what? He used to pull me to one side, and he always used to say, he met loads of ex-players further down the line who didn't make it, and he always used to say, why didn't you make it? And they'd always come up with some excuse. I had this, or I met this girl, and so he always used to say, give 100%, because if you don't make it, he said, you could always just hold your hand up and say, I wasn't good enough. He said, it's as simple as that, but you could always hold your head up and say, I always give 100%. And it's something instilled in me every time, is to give 100%. And he said, there's times your touch will go on the pitch. You'll go to play a pass and it won't get there. You'll be like, everyone has it. Just having one, it's not quite working. But he said, all you have to do is you roll your sleeves up and you're going to work hard. And that's all he used to do, he said, as a player. And it's something I pass on to everyone. Even making the bed with my kids, just do it as best as you can, because the Constantina effect, as you go on through life, you'll end up just doing it naturally. Do it as best as you can. And I remember those words vividly. And Colin Bell, for me, is someone who stuck with me, and it's probably why I ended up making it, because of the work rate I put in.
Do you know what? That's amazing to hear. What a great note that is to hear. I can't, because it's bizarre, because I this morning I was watching I watched a video of Colin Bell. We used to have halftime shows, like put the ball here, kick the play.
With the circles.
Yes, yeah, and I shared it today, and I've literally shared it, and I put, what a player Colin Bell was. I wish I was around to watch him play live. I shared that, and for you to say that now, it's like, oh, I would have loved to see him play live.
Yes, no, I watched that. That was so hard to do, by the way.
I know, all five straight away, without even...
Straight away, bang, just like that. And yeah, so he used to play the ball to us for shooting and on all that. And man, you know, I just think Colin Bell's my first coach. He's unbelievable. And I think listening to because I didn't watch, I've got clips of Colin Bell playing, but all of my brother-in-law who watched him a lot said he could play in today's game. He could play his box-to-box, everything that he had about him, going forward, helping at the back. He could play in today's game, no problem. He was that good a player.
I believe you had, speaking of ex-coaches, I believe you had the very recently late Glyn Pardoe as a coach as well.
Yes, Glyn, yeah, he was, again, another one. Again, didn't realise how good a player he was as well. And you take it for granted, because some kids grow up watching a lot of football. I grew up originally playing golf, when I started playing football, the only ones I could watch were the videos I could get. I'm talking VHS. So I used to watch anything from Pele, Maradona, and George Best because they were the best ones in HMV at the time when I used to get it. So that's all I could watch. But I didn't know players. Even when I made my debut at times, there's players I didn't know because I was trying to concentrate on my own game. Yeah, so I was always trying to play my own game. So I didn't know players. But Quinn Parkdale, again, he was fantastic in training. He was absolutely fantastic. And then we also had Asa Hartford takers and also Willie Donaghy and all great. And Tony Buck. Tony Buck was another one who come and tell you little things. And it's only when you look back, you go, they were incredible players and they were passing on anything they could. And so it was fantastic.
Some absolute legends of the game and absolute legends of City being your coach. That's amazing.
Yeah, I loved it, and I think whenever I talk to, I try and pass on any information and know that Colin Bell, there's a stand named after him. That's how good, how high he was kind of held with the fans. It means a lot when you start talking about him, and he's fantastic, and all the other coaches that I can mention. Like I say, I just wish I was a better player to say, but. But they've helped me along the way, and I'm happy to have met them along the way.
But the most important thing you said, Jim, was you give it everything that you can give, and no City fan would want anything else other than from a player. So you tick every box there for me, pal.
Yeah, thanks. And I think Paul Dickoff as well was one who would chase balls down from the keeper's just about to kick it. He's 50 yards away and he's still jumping to try and get the ball. And the fans would love it.
Yeah, there's a little ferret chasing after him. He must have been horrible.
Chasing after it on his own, like I'm after it. And he's not going to get it, but the crowd would just did. And that at the time, I think, especially in the main road days, United were probably on a different level at the time, especially when you went down to Division 2. But they just wanted players to give their all, and it was brilliant to be part of that and chat to any of the fans in the bar any time anyone could come talk to us. It was great. I loved it, and so it was good times. And give your all. It's something I always tell. Give 100%, and you could always say you tried your hardest.
Do you know what? I'm going to use that for the title of this.
Yeah, great.
Give it your all.
Give it your all. I'm using that as the title. Brilliant.
Good. No, thanks, man. Thanks. But that's
I could see a musical being written about that. I could see a musical. There you go. That's your next project, Jim.
You give it your all. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Chris, have you got anything else to add, pal?
I mean, to be honest, I'm a bit taken aback now because it's just that's incredible. I think honestly, from this podcast now, I am going to give my dad some stick because I'm not joking. After what you said, Jim, about your sister getting in touch with the youth recruitment and stuff.
Yeah,
I'm not joking. I remember I had the Merlin sticker album from '96, and it had Main Road's address on it. And I used to write letters. I wrote them to Ross. I wrote them to the managers. And I wrote one once, and I said, "Look, I'm 11 years old. I've started playing for the school team. Will you come and watch me? I think I've got I could do it." And I got a phone call at school. I had to go down to the office, and it was the guy from City. And he just said, "Look, we'll come and watch you, but you need to play for a Sunday league team." And my parents wouldn't let me. My parents didn't let me sign for a Sunday league team. Oh, because we used to play in the caravan.
Wow!
So
but they got in touch with you.
They got in touch with me. I'm not joking. They gave me a ring at school and they said I had to go down to the office. I was on the phone to him and he was like, "Yeah, you need to play Sunday League because obviously the quality's better." And I was like, "But I mean, I'm playing football like Michael Lee. He's at United. He's on my team at the minute. We're playing with players from these clubs. Come and watch me." And it wasn't to be.
It wasn't to be. Give your dad a load of stick.
I know. Yeah, I ended up making my debut for Hindley Wanderers about 2 years ago on a slutchy pitch. But yeah, it's just, I mean, you can't do that in this day and age.
Totally changed.
That's not going to happen. But
you'd never get, no chance.
I know some of the lower league clubs doing it. I mean, I've got a mate who plays for Halifax Town, Danny Williams, and I see that they put adverts out. The 16-year-olds will come and watch. They have open recruitment days. But I mean, as a young City fan, I was made up just the fact that the guy who'd rang me. You know.
No, that's incredible. Yeah,
I'm,
that is
I'm
incredible.
envious of your position. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm half
yeah,
well.
I had a
The
phone
fact you
call.
had Robbie Savage was brilliant, and
yeah, mine was just a phone call in, and that was it.
I tell you what, I hope you've looked after your sister. I hope you've been getting her Christmas present.
Yes. Well, they were City fans, so they were buzzing.
Oh, amazing.
So that's why I got told about Colin Bell when I came back and said, "Oh yeah, I'm training." I used to travel from Wrexham on a Thursday night, take a train, and train on a Thursday evening with Colin Bell. And it's when I came back, and she went, "Colin Bell, you do know?" I was, no. And she explained all about it, and I was like, "Wow, okay." And the fact that he kept pulling me to one side, you know, when I probably back then I wasn't the most technically gifted, you know, but that work rate stood me in good stead.
Brilliant. Well, listen, I'm gonna leave it there because we've had well over an hour of your time.
Yeah, no worries, guys.
It's felt like 20 minutes, pal. I've really, really enjoyed this, and I can't thank you enough for spending the time with us.
Thanks, guys. Chris, Tom, you've been great. Thank you very much.
Brilliant. Have a lovely evening, and thanks again.
Cheers, guys.
Yeah,
enjoy.
take care, mate.
Catch you later, pal. Bye bye.
Cheers.
What a top bloke he is.
I'll tell you what, you know, I mean, I've met football players before. I used to go to the pantomimes, and I was always fine with it. At the end of that podcast, it was the first time I actually felt a bit starstruck. Just the things he was saying. Yeah. And I was like, it's unreal. It really is unbelievable. Like all the memories flooding back in, and that's unbelievable. Everything he was saying.
Didn't he come across really well? He talked really well.
Yeah.
Load of love for City.
Yeah.
Very open, very honest. I thought that went fantastically well. What a top guy he is.
I know. Absolutely. And I think that message as well. I think for any of the younger ones listening, or anyone who's listening who's got kids or grandkids or whatever who are looking to play football, whether it's the girls' team, boys' team, that advice, just give 100%. Doesn't matter what you're doing. You can't go wrong because, like you said, there's so many that don't make it. There's so many that get signed up at 16 and then released and never play again in their life. But at least you can hold your hands up and say, you know what, I did my best. What can you do? If you've done your best, you can't have any complaints.
No, you're absolutely spot on. And I wish him all the luck in the world with his future endeavours and stuff like that. He's had such a varied couple of years since finishing football.
Yeah.
Really getting into all sorts, and I think that was brilliant, and I'm looking forward to getting this out now and seeing what everyone else thinks of that. But that went really well.
I really hope he does write that musical now. Give it your all. I think that would be brilliant.
Give It Your All, the musical by Jim Whitley. I love it.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, could you imagine some of the cast he'd have as well?
Oh, listen, I'd actually insist in being involved in it. I don't know what I'd do, but I'd like to be. I can't
be a tree in the background.
I'll be Frank Clark.
I'll be Andy Morrison then. I don't mind doing that.
No, that's absolutely fantastic. Listen, we'll finish there, but Blues, thank you very much for listening to the Manchester's Blues show. As always, what we'd absolutely love from you to do is share this with your friends. If you can go the extra mile, if you're listening to this on the Apple Podcast, if you go onto Apple, like and subscribe, and you can review the show, it makes a massive difference to our visibility. The podcast link will be in the show notes. Don't forget, we're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and also if you go onto YouTube and you like these videos, we try to get as many as we can done as quickly as possible for you. We do quite a few a week. Go onto Facebook, go onto YouTube especially, and you can subscribe there. And as soon as you subscribe, you get regular emails, regular notifications of when we do fresh ones. So we hope you enjoy this. And Chris, thanks very much for your time. Thanks again, Jim Whitley. Cracking person to have a chat to. He will definitely be coming on again because I really enjoyed talking to him. And listen, have a great one, Blues, and we'll speak to you soon.
Stay safe, guys.
Cheers, pal. Bye-bye.